Kenne ich Forager? Ja. Forager ist ziemlich cooles, kleines, chilliges Spiel.
So if I didn't know about the security and had rushed into the lab...
You'd be a super sexy skeleton right now.
Mm.
Aw, so close.
You want that?
But the doctor's plan failed, and he actually got boom killed by the hitman. I get what he was trying to do, but what about the impossible murder?
Assuming the attack on the doctor was just an act when we saw him through the intercom, we at least know for sure the real attack hadn't happened yet.
Hmm.
In other words, the culprit entered the lab after that exchange. So the problem is, when did they actually enter?
But
Where are we?
This place is a real mystery. Then again, I suppose that checks out.
Huh? Shinigami?
Yeah! Master, this looks like an important turning point! So, is that your final answer?
Huh?
I haven't said anything yet!
Master, you need to narrow down the timing for when the culprit got inside. Now then, here's our fateful fork in the road. It's life or death! We are at the crossroads of mystery and solution. This earth-shattering choice may be your last. Now, Master, which one will you choose?
ich meine, ja. Oder was meinen die mit Labor? Meinen die Labor den letzten Raum? Dann ja. Wenn die mit Labor das ganze Sicherheitszeug mit einbeziehen, dann nein.
When I directed Amapal to go into the doctor's lab, he already had a knife stuck in him.
Ja.
Which means he was murdered before Amapal entered the doctor's lab.
Ja. Gut.
Your answer? Is correct!
Hmm.
Congratulations, Master! Would you like to double down?
What are you talking about? Anyway, let's keep going.
Okay.
Little by little, we're narrowing down when the culprit entered.
Yeah, but we still don't know how yet. It had to be between when we spoke to the doctor over the intercom and when Amapal entered his lab. During that time, the culprit entered the doctor's lab and murdered him.
So the most likely time would be when you went to borrow Amapal, Master. The culprit had to have entered the lab then.
But Fubuki waited at the front chamber while Desuhiko and I went to borrow Amapal. She said no one entered or left the lab. we're back on the original path.
Maybe you're supposed to try opening that door now.
I'm sure that from here on out, it's not just about when, but also how the culprit got in. Yuma, there's no need to push yourself if things get too hard.
No, I can do it. I'm going to solve it.
This is a map of the critical lab.
So we have to determine where the culprit was before the murder.
We'll have to solve them one at a time. Let's start with this mystery.
If we know where the culprit was before they got in, this route will be clear too. Do you know where, Yuma?
Here. The culprit must have been here.
It opened!
After the exchange on the intercom, given there was always a detective at the front chamber, when we went to borrow Amapal, the culprit had to have already made their way inside. But the airlock is the only location that isn't affected by the security system. There. The culprit had to be inside that decontamination device before committing the crime.
Was?
But the airlock is the only location that isn't affected by the security system.
But I thought he was just hiding in there to avoid being spotted after the crime. So you think the culprit was in there before the crime too?
Yeah, the culprit was waiting for their chance. But we had no idea when we sent Amapel into the airlock.
And from there, Yuma, you guided Amapal to the doctor's lab. So the culprit entered the doctor's lab before then? How would that be possible? Only Amapal could get past security, right?
Yeah, that's the next big question.
Maybe the culprit used another Amapal unit.
No, the researcher mentioned there was only one functioning Amapal.
Which means the Amapal Yuma controlled was the only one that could get past security.
So the culprit must have taken advantage of Master's Amapal to get into the doctor's lab.
Yeah, that's the only way. But how did they use it? There's no solving the doctor's murder until we figure that out.
Well, I have an idea. Will you hear me out?
What is it?
How about giving up? I'm getting tired.
Nope, motion denied. Another fork in the road? Such a complicated mystery labyrinth.
Beyond each problem lies the truth. We're definitely getting closer to the heart of this mystery.
What do you mean, use Amapel as a shield?
Amapel is supposed to be sturdy enough to withstand an elephant stepping on it, right? The culprit may have used Amapel as a shield against the security system.
So, the culprit followed behind Amapel to avoid the toxic gas and explosions?
I get it! You're so smart, Master!
Really? I don't think so.
Hey! Master just showed off how smart and logical he is.
Uh-oh.
Master wasn't smart after all! Come on, take it from the top!
Yeah! Even if Amapel itself is fine, it wouldn't be able to protect the culprit from the toxic gas.
Ja, das ist noch die Sache, an der ich irgendwie hänge. Ja. Nicht?
Even though Amapel is sturdy, it couldn't withstand the high voltage shock from the panel chamber. Which means it'd be impossible to use Amapel to protect yourself.
You're only realizing this now. At this rate, you'll be a grandpa before you stop being a rookie.
Perhaps you will improve in the next life.
I'm trying my best in this life.
Do you think neither is really the right answer?
Given the process of elimination, that must be it. Amapel's hands aren't designed to hold anything, so it couldn't use the knife to murder the doctor. Which means Amapel wasn't the murder weapon. And the culprit couldn't have used it as a shield. It can't neutralize the toxic gas, and the high voltage shock would destroy it.
So then, how did the culprit use Amapel?
I think we'll find out if we continue down this path.
Huh? That was the wrong answer? Come on, Master!
Huh?
Huh? We're...
We've been here before. It looks like we've been brought back.
But the door we opened earlier is closed again. Why's that?
Yeah, I wonder why.
Huh? Even the question is the same. Does that mean we gotta do it all over again?
Well, the logic is still sound. There's no other hiding spot for the culprit besides the airlock.
So you want to choose the same answer and keep going?
If you do, you'll just repeat the whole process again. We'll just be brought back here if we can't figure out how did the culprit use Amapel. And I refuse to walk any more than I have to.
Hey, don't sit down!
What should I do?
Stand up! Stand up right now!
Stop it. Leave me alone.
If you want me to leave you alone? Then help my useless master out!
Useless?
Fine. Just one thing then. We're back at where was the culprit before the crime? Because you're stuck at how did the culprit use Amapao? With that in mind, these two questions are connected.
Connected? Both the culprit's location and how Amapao was used?
Help him out more! More!
The culprit was hiding in the airlock, where you also left the robot, right? At that moment, only the culprit and Amapao were there. So maybe the culprit did something.
The culprit did something to Amapao?
Clues are always there, right under your nose. It's a detective's job to notice them. Did you notice anything strange back then? Any tiny detail? Try to remember.
Something strange.
Das war keine
Hey!
Five Nights at Freddy's
mentioned it
Situation,
back then.
oder?
Oh, hey, the screen lit up. So this is what Amapao sees. It's like the cockpit of a mecha.
Whoa, what was that?
Did it break already? I thought it was state of the art.
No, it's alright. It's stabilized. There was a moment when the camera stopped functioning while I was controlling Amapao. It returned to normal pretty quick, but maybe...
See? I told you it was right under your nose. You don't need any additional help from me, right?
That was a clue to help solve this mystery?
Actually, everything in this world is a key to solving mysteries. You just haven't noticed them. Perhaps there is more you're overlooking. Was there anything else unusual?
Something unusual. Something I missed.
Anything else? It's not like Amapao's camera showed the culprit.
Wait, that's it!
Huh?
Now that I think about it, wasn't that strange? The culprit must have gotten ahead of Amapao, but why didn't they ever show up on the camera? If the culprit went past Amapao to enter the doctor's lab, they would have been spotted for sure.
Now that you mention it...
But nobody showed up on camera. How did the culprit manage to pull that off? How can you move from the airlock to the doctor's lab without appearing even once on Amapao's camera?
Hey, aren't you just adding another mystery?
No. All the pieces are here.
Huh?
Yuma, the mysteries you face now can be solved with a single answer.
A single answer?
Sheesh. I talk too much.
One mystery after another! What'll you do now? It's a Pandora's box of mysteries!
Let's stay calm and think about it. There's plenty of time.
Or not. I'll keep reading while you wrap things up.
Remember what he said, Master. All it takes is one answer to solve these mysteries. Use those weak brain cells of yours and think!
Culprit's location. Amapao's usage. Its malfunction. Why didn't the culprit appear on camera? All this can be solved with just one answer?
Bei der Five Nights at Freddy's gespielt hat und in den Roboter reingegangen ist. Nicht? Oh. Okay, dann war er oben drauf.
I got it. The culprit rode
Aber
on Amapel's head, using it as a method of transportation.
Aber wie ist der an dem Giftgas vorbeigekommen?
The door opened.
Deswegen habe ich zuerst gedacht, dass er im Roboter war, weil selbst wenn er oben drauf ist, ist das Gas trotzdem noch da. Und deswegen habe ich vorhin auch Schutzschild zuerst ausgewählt, weil es ist ja eine Art Schutzschild.
What did you mean by that?
Literally what I said. The culprit rode Amapel and used it to get through. After we left Amapel in the airlock, the culprit came out of the decontamination device. Then they jumped on Amapel's head. The disruption in the footage was from the impact.
That's insane.
Is it? I think it's fairly reasonable. Amapal can withstand up to 100 kilograms of weight. So, someone riding on it shouldn't affect its functionality.
The shoe print on Amapel's head wasn't caused by someone kicking it. It was left there from the culprit hopping on and off.
After that, the culprit simply rode on it as it moved toward the doctor's lab. By doing so, the culprit was able to evade the camera and remain hidden as they made their way through the lab.
You're right. If it's true, then it does solve all of the previous mysteries. Imagining the culprit riding on a robot makes me laugh.
But Yuma, have you not realized it? You're still missing something. One major mystery remains.
What's with that huge sigh?
The greatest mystery of this case should appear soon. Just the thought of it gets me feeling down.
This case's greatest mystery? This is the panel chamber.
That means the doctor's lab is just beyond it. If we can get through here, we'll reach the goal, yeah? Is this the greatest mystery you mentioned?
Not exactly what I was envisioning.
Well, this is the mystery to be solved, so let's clear it out.
Beats me.
Okay.
The culprit murdered the doctor before Amapel entered the room. Which means the culprit had to have gotten ahead of Amapel at some point. It was when the door first opened. At that moment, the culprit snuck into the doctor's room.
Yeah, when the doors were slowly opening, just like this. That's when the culprit took their chance.
Right. The moment there was enough space for a person to slip through, the culprit hopped off and went inside.
Like this? We still haven't reached the goal. I thought we could get into the doc's lab now.
Is this a joke to you? Your deduction is full of holes. If this is a joke, it's not very funny.
Master, you know what to do.
Of course.
I'll take your garbage deduction and toss it in the trash. I am the saint of Kanai Ward, protecting it from filth like you! The culprit hopped off Amapal as the door opened. And slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible, even for Fink the Slaughter Artist! Think about it. If Amapal's line of sight changed just a bit, the camera would have caught it. No one would do something so risky. The crime would have been exposed. The culprit must be really lucky, huh?
That's right.
The culprit hopped off Amapal as the door
Opened, then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible, you never think the slaughter artist. Think about it. If Amapal's line of sight changed just a bit, the camera would have caught it. No one would do something so risky. The crime would have been exposed. The culprit must be really lucky, huh?
What? Did they use some sort of special power? The culprit
Hopped off Amapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door.
That's impossible, even for Fink the Slaughter Artist!
Think about it.
Amapal's line of sight changed just a bit.
Slash
Da.
through this mystery.
Okay.
Amapal is designed so that when its hand is stretched out, it won't execute any other inputs. That's why when it was pressing the button for the door, the culprit didn't show up on the camera.
You little maggots. Don't get so full of yourselves. You're not getting out of here alive.
Warum verpisst er sich jetzt schon? Können wir endlich das Problem mit dem Giftgas angehen mal?
I get it. So Amapal couldn't move while the door was opening. That's when the culprit took their chance.
Since the door opens outward, it's possible to take advantage of the blind spot it creates. That's how the culprit managed to stay outside the camera's view as they entered the doctor's room.
So it's an elaborate murder that took advantage of Amapal's design, and even the direction the door opens. Whoever planned this must have really wanted the doctor dead. I guess you can call it an obsession. How scary. Just like this passageway. Where will it take us? Perhaps a suite with the culprit's obsession on full display? The room of nightmares?
Knock it off with the weird soliloquies. Let's go.
You're really going?
Huh?
Again? What's with this thing?
Hey, Yuma. When the culprit entered the doctor's room while the door was open,
Huh? Yeah?
at the time, the doctor was in the room, right? If the door opened and an intruder entered, how could the doctor not have noticed?
So what if he did notice? It's not a big deal.
Yes, it is. If he had noticed an intruder, the doctor would have turned to face him. Which means he wouldn't have been stabbed in the back.
That piece of trash is right. Your logic is flawed.
Hey, what are
Aber-
you on the Phantom side now?
Aber war der... Ja, Hörprobleme. Der hat nicht gehört, dass die Tür aufgeht.
Listen to my incredible words of wisdom. Your crappy deduction is worth less than shit! Everything you do is a fucking mistake! Damn it! Your deduction is inconsistent. It's full of inconsistencies. By your logic, even if the doctor could be stabbed, it wouldn't be from behind. That's all impossible!
Your deduction is inconsistent.
It's full of inconsistencies. By your logic, even if the doctor could be stabbed, it wouldn't be from behind.
That claim doesn't hold up! No, the culprit did stab the doctor in the back. That's how the body was discovered.
That's why I'm saying your deduction is inconsistent. By your logic, the doctor couldn't have been murdered in that way! The culprit quickly entered the lab. But the doctor was in the room at the time, right? There's no way he missed an intruder. Running is noisy. So Wesker would have heard and turned to face the culprit. And his chest would have been stabbed, not his back. Unless you think the doctor was asleep. Is there any trace of him being drugged? Even if he didn't look back from his desk, he would have heard someone coming!
No, that's wrong.
This is the truth. Wait, the doctor had trouble hearing. That's why he didn't notice the intruder.
Now you're spouting nonsense. Say whatever you want, it won't save you. There's a gaping hole in your logic, and there's no way you're gonna fill it at this rate. Because you, more than anyone else, you're the one refusing to see the truth right before your eyes.
What? I refuse to see the truth? Vivius said the same thing, but...
It's strange, don't you think? Isn't it about time you noticed that something's off here?
Huh?
You've solved many mysteries up to now, yet none of them are directly connected to the culprit's identity.
That's because the culprit is the hitman.
If that's the case, why haven't you reaped the hitman's soul? And that would end the labyrinth.
It's not that easy. The culprit will fight back, unless we solve all the mysteries first. Hang on. What are you getting at?
In my eyes, the reason a single mystery hasn't been directly connected to the culprit is because of Yuma's reluctance. It's pushing away the mysteries that lead to the culprit.
Huh?
Subconsciously, you're closing your eyes to the truth. That's why you haven't touched on the hole in your reasoning.
What hole?
Whatever, that's enough. Just ignore this guy and keep going.
Hey!
Huh.
Yuma. Yuma.
Jeez, go away!
You know what I'm talking about, don't you? The huge hole in this investigation?
What are you...
Just ignore him.
Let's review your deduction, shall we? The culprit took advantage of Amapau's locked position and entered the lab. And before the robot entered the room, that person stabbed the doctor from behind. However, they bumped into Amapau while escaping, causing it to fall over. That was obviously a mistake, but since it wasn't captured on video, they were able to avoid detection. After that, the culprit went inside the decontamination device in the airlock to hide from you.
That's correct. So what's the hole in my deduction?
It's before all of that. It remains the case's greatest mystery.
The scars?
Which is?
How did the culprit get past security?
What?
We already told you that. The culprit rode on top of Amapau as Master controlled it and was taken all the way to the doctor's lab.
But if someone was riding on it, how did they get past the high voltage shocks in the panel chamber?
What are them gods?
This is the end for you! You have nowhere left to go!
Oh, come on! Why now?
I won't let you maggots ruin the peace of Kanai Ward! As the king of Amaterasu Corporation and the guardian of Kanai Ward, I will stop you here and now!
Perhaps this too is an obsession. Why does he insist on covering up the truth? Tell me, what will you do, Yuma? Are you going to stay willfully blind?
No, I'll fight. Whether it's subconscious or not, I won't look away from the truth. I'll find the truth no matter what. This is for the Chief and everyone at the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
Good luck! You'll never find it. You'll scurry around this labyrinth forever, like blind mice. You'll rot away in it, looking for an answer that will never come! Keep playing with your shit deductions. You still haven't solved the greatest mystery. How did the culprit get past the security? The critical lab security system was always live. There was no way to reach the doctor. The panel chamber shocks would have fried the culprit. That security system? No living human can breach it. Don't tell me the culprit is a robot.
But... that's right.
Keep playing. With your shit deductions. You still haven't solved the greatest mystery. How did the culprit get past the security? The critical lab security system was always live. There was no way to reach the doctor. The panel chamber shocks would have fried the culprit. That security system? No living human can breach it.
I'll slash through this mystery. A human could get past the panel chamber by using Fubuki's forte. In fact, that's how we got past the panels. The high-voltage shocks kept destroying Amapel. But we reversed time every time that happened.
Correct. So whenever it was struck by the current, you went back in time. But while that was occurring, the culprit, a human, was riding on top of Amapel. That person was burnt to a crisp every time you failed.
But...
which means you killed the culprit over and over again.
Vivia...
If only you had chosen to remain ignorant, I would have walked beside you in silence. But if you intend to seek the truth, then I must stand in your way.
What are you doing? Why are you doing this?
He's going to betray you, Master.
Betray me?
It's up to you, Yuma. This is your final chance to save the world you believe in. What are you going to do? It's time to decide your past and your future.
Why, Vivia?
Let me ask you. How did the culprit bypass the toxic gas chamber? It's impossible to avoid the gas. The culprit would surely die. You should already know this, right? The gas is a special trait. The gas can see through even a gas mask. No ability can nullify its toxicity. Once it hits you, you're done for. You die before reaching Weska.
This is the truth.
Whoa,
If you
warum?
pass through the toxic gas, you'll die. But you'll have 30 minutes before it kills you. Which means you could survive for 30 minutes.
What? Don't tell me.
There are no gas masks here that can block this toxic gas, and no fortes that can nullify it. There's only one way you could get through it. You do nothing. You endure it in hopes of Amapel taking you to the next room.
Warum schwebt der Typ?
Then the culprit didn't do anything to counteract it and just passed through the toxic gas?
What?
It's the only explanation that makes sense. This is the truth. I can't believe it. But if the culprit really did just endure the toxic gas,
Then they...
the culprit is...
It appears you finally glimpsed the truth, Yuma. Well, how does it feel to have your world shatter before your eyes? Isn't this what you wanted?
What's he talking about?
Yomi's mystery phantom and Fifia are both right. Subconsciously, I didn't want to know the truth.
Huh?
Up until now, the Mystery Labyrinth was withholding the mysteries that led to the culprit. And that's because it's a reflection of my own reluctance.
Doctor, what's wrong? Do you know who the culprit is? It's the hitman, right?
The truth is worthless. Nothing has less value in this isolated, rainy city. No one wants the truth. Not even you! Now, rot away and die right here! No one will get in my way. Kanai Ward, Amaterasu! They both belong to me! If the culprit carried out the crime like you deduced,
Nope.
then they should be dead from the toxic gas. But no one at the scene has died from poisoning. If you can understand that much, then what are you still doing here?
You're right that no one in that lab died from that toxic gas.
Hmm.
But that was part of the culprit's plan from the beginning. They planned to distort the facts of their death.
Yuma, are you sure you want to face the truth? Your world will fall apart. The world that you believed in.
Your deduction is wrong. Don't disturb the peace. It's not even worth debating. Is this the best you can do to refute it? Just give up and die! Shit!
Never.
With this, I'll expose the truth! The culprit misrepresented their death by using the hitman. The culprit realized their plan would be exposed if someone in the lab died from toxic gas. So they used the hitman to cover up their own death.
Use the hitman?
Meaning, the hitman wasn't hired to assassinate the doctor. They were hired to cover up the culprit's death by toxic gas.
Huh? The hitman's target was the culprit? Not the doctor? But the doctor was stabbed by the knife with the inscribed F. Doesn't that belong to the hitman?
All you would need is a similar knife. The story of Fink the slaughter artist using a knife inscribed with the letter F is well known.
Nah, we leave it alone until we receive further orders. Did you see the knife stuck in his back? It's the one that Fink the slaughter artist uses, right? I've heard about his knives inscribed with the letter F.
So it was all a ruse? The real culprit made it look like the hitman did it?
Stop. Stop, 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 stop! You useless garbage! To hell with detectives and the truth! I won't let you have your way in my city! There is no real culprit! Dr. Wesker was killed by the hitman!
Huh? What's going on? Who's the real culprit?
The real culprit. The real culprit is...
See
The time has finally come, Yuma. It's time for you to acknowledge But you've known all along. If the tiny crack spreads any further, the mirror will shatter, exposing the chaos of the real world. Knowing this, will you still expose the truth? Then, show me your conviction.
The clues pointing to the identity of the hitman's target. I know. I've known all along.
Now, expose the truth. Do it if you want to burn the world down.
Oh.
The bloodstained photo found in the hallway near the lab. There was a person pictured with a woman. That was the hitman's target. The real culprit behind this case. The blood obscured the person's face, but I know who it is. It could only be one person. It could only be...
How do you know? That person in the photo is the hitman's target. And who is it?
It's...
No! Stop! Don't you dare say another word! No one wants the truth!
I don't understand, but... Good luck, Master! I'm always by your side, haunting you!
What?
Damn it!
Huh?
Chief... Yako...
Huh? Why? Why is Fuzzhead here?
Chief Yako was the only person attacked by the hitman in the lab. In other words, the Chief was the hitman's target. But Chief Yako tried to hide that photo by tossing it behind the houseplant. He hid it knowing it'd be an important clue. And that's because the person in the photo is Chief Yako himself. It was given to the hitman so he'd know his target, and the Chief tried to conceal it. Which means the blood covering the face on the photo was likely done on purpose.
Hold on, Master! Are you serious? You're really saying Fuzzhead is the culprit? Really? I don't buy it. You think he actually put together this elaborate murder? He's knocking on death's door just for this?
I don't want to believe it either, but there's no other way.
Don't forget this stuff.
The phantom vanished. The truth has been mostly exposed, and the labyrinth cannot function much longer. Anything I do now might not matter, but I'll do it anyway. Because it's something I must do. While the chief takes his final breaths.
Vivia.
Yuma. If Chief Yako is the culprit, then what about that death threat? Why would the chief send it? If he was the killer. Answer me, Yuma. No, that's not the reason. Why would the chief send it? If he was the killer. Answer me, Yuma. No, that's not the reason. Why would the chief send it? If he was the killer. Answer me, Yuma. Not the reason. Why would the chief send it? If he was the killer. Answer me, Yuma.
By sending that note, everyone would believe the doctor's life was in danger. Which was necessary for this sequence of events to take place. All the master detectives headed to the secret lab because of that note. Chief Yako brought them here to take advantage of their abilities and murder the doctor.
Huh? Their abilities?
But the death threat wasn't sent just to the detectives. The peacekeepers received it too. What was the point of that? Why put them on high alert? What is the truth behind it all? Chief couldn't have been thinking about that. But the death threat wasn't sent just to the detectives. The peacekeepers received it too. What was the point of that? Why put them on high alert? What is the truth behind it all?
The note was sent to the peacekeepers because they were also part of the plan. When the peacekeepers received the note, they dispatched a lot of their personnel to the scene. The master detectives were able to take advantage of the commotion to enter the facility. They did it by disguising themselves as peacekeepers.
It would be convenient to have a lot of peacekeepers around if you want to get into the lab disguised as one.
This is why the peacekeepers also received the death threat.
Hey, you still want to do this? It's not too late to give up.
I am well aware of the danger. I haven't gotten this much exercise in a long time. But this is something I must do. I can't leave the chief like this.
Vivia.
Let's continue, Yuma. So, everyone disguised themselves as peacekeepers and entered the lab. You were already at the lab, and that's where you met up with the chief, right?
Yes, but we decided to split up after the blackout occurred.
Wait! That blackout should have caused a commotion. If we leave now, the peacekeepers will see us. I knew it. This place is crawling with them.
What do we do?
I'll draw their attention to buy some time. In the meantime, you two hurry to that doctor.
The chief said he'd buy us some time, but he actually went and hid inside the airlock.
Was the blackout part of the plan? So the one who caused it, was that also the chief?
The chief was with me in the security room at the time of the blackout. It's impossible for him to have caused it. So the only person it could be is the hitman. It must have been part of the job. He instructed the hitman to cause a blackout at a specific time.
But why?
It made us think the doctor was in danger, so we'd go check on him. We used Amapal and Fortes to get through the tight security system. Chief Yako had it all planned out from the start. He used us to break through the security so he could kill the doctor.
So, Master using Amapal and the Sheltered Skank's time rewinding ability at the panel chamber? That was all part of Fuzzhead's plan?
The only way to get past security was to use both Amapal and that Forte. The chief knew we'd figure that out.
I think it's more like he trusted us. He trusted that we would arrive at that conclusion.
I'm counting on you both. See you later.
Trust? How could this be a trust thing? He was clearly taking advantage of you all! He gathered the master detectives using a fake death threat, then used their fortes to commit murder. What a scumbag! He used you all to get away with murder! Out of all the criminals I've ever met, he's the worst coward of them all! Master, grab that coward and...
Enough!
Why did it have to come to this? Chief Iago saved me. He took me in. I had lost everything, even my memories. Sure, he may have been a little pushy at times, but still, I really admired him. So, why? Why did you do it? Is this about the woman in the picture? Chief, please tell me, or
There's no point in asking. That's just a mystery phantom. It's not the real Fuzzhead. Master, watch out!
The phantoms are a reflection of the same people in the real world, right? Which means he should hold the same thoughts. The photo behind the houseplant. I don't know what the chief was hiding. But that photo must have been dropped by the hitman after he was done with it. The chief picked it up and used his own blood to obscure the face. He knew the truth would be exposed if that photo was found, so he hid it behind the potted plant. He left his blood on it, almost like he wrote a dying message. But in truth, it was actually a secret he wanted to keep hidden.
Master, I think you know this, but... to exit the mystery labyrinth, you will have to eliminate the culprit.
eliminate the chief?
Are you really going to do this? After all the mysteries are solved, the chief back in the real world will die. But you saw yourself, Yuma. The chief is already knocking on death's door. Will you still bury him in the name of truth?
The chief took me in when I had no memories, or anyone to turn to. I trusted him from the bottom of my heart. Now, I have to end his life?
You know, I liked it, surprisingly. The little bit of peace and quiet I found at the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
Vivia, you knew the truth behind this case from the very beginning.
I had a hunch. Because of my spectral projection, I knew the chief had been planning something for quite some time. But I pretended not to see. I admired him and the world he had made.
That's why you threatened me, and were so uncooperative in the investigation.
I knew you would reach the truth eventually, Yuma. But I tried my best to keep you away. Exposing the truth won't save anyone. Neither the chief nor you.
already come this far. You've got to finish this. What'll happen to the other master detectives if you die here? Didn't you say you wanted to expose the truth and save everyone?
Vivia, you told me that the time would come when I'd have to prove my conviction. The conviction to accept the truth, no matter how cruel it may be. Now is that time, isn't it?
Yes, and yet you intend to continue. If you're prepared for it.
Hey! You better not get in Master's way again!
Yuma, do you remember when the Chief's soul called out to us?
Huh?
Yeah, the truth is cruel. Never in history has the truth been known to be kind. But you know what? Turning your eyes away from the truth and living a lie is harsh too. In the end, you can never look away from the truth. As long as you live, you must face that pain. So really, what's the point of worrying so much about it? When you're lost, believe in your own heart. That way, even if things end up all wrong, at least you can stand proud.
I always averted my eyes from the truth. For my own sake. My own peace and quiet. But I could never say with confidence that I was proud of myself. In the end, I was just running away from everything. That's why I entrust this to you, Yuma.
Entrust what?
You signed a pact with the Death God in your desire for the truth. I want to see your conviction. As long as you don't stray from exposing all truth, I believe you'll be able to face it, cruel as it may be. I want to see it through to the end. It's why I followed you here. In that sense, we're accomplices. If you must bring down the Chief, then I will lend a hand. I won't avert my eyes any longer. I, too, want to live with my head held high. Because I, too, am a detective.
Vivia.
When you're lost, believe in your own heart. That way, even if things end up all wrong, at least you can stand proud.
I understand, Chief Yako. Thank you for everything you've done for me!
Step right up, step right up! Peacekeepers, a CEO, a research doctor, a hitman, and master detectives! 2 dead bodies, but lots of shady characters! Truth bombs are about to be dropped! Time for the deduction denouement!
The victim in this case is one Dr. Weska. This incident features a sinister and meticulously detailed plot centered on the doctor.
The old geezer was holed up inside a lab at Amaterasu HQ. He was a total hermit in the critical lab with a totally overkill security system.
The culprit made thorough preparations beforehand to break through that system.
Boom killing a shut-in is hard work. The humane thing to do is to reintroduce him to society first.
Yeah, with that out of the way. Posing as a hitman, the culprit sent a death threat to the Peacekeepers, the detective agency, and the research lab. At the same time, they contracted a real hitman and had him infiltrate the research facility.
They spilled the beans about Gramps being in danger to lure both the Peacekeepers and the detectives to the lab.
You see, the master detective's presence at the scene was an indispensable part of the plan. It was how the culprit gained access to the research facility, after all. The hitman infiltrated the lab exactly as planned. And we arrived with Mikoto at the same time.
Stuff went down, blah blah blah, and Master got locked up by that Yomi guy.
I was rescued by Desuhiko and the culprit, who were disguised as peacekeepers. With the real peacekeepers rushing around, the culprit took advantage of the turmoil to sneak into the lab. But after catching up with them, the power suddenly went out, separating the culprit from the rest of the group.
The blackout itself was caused by the hitman, right? And getting separated was all part of the culprit's plan.
Right. They used the blackout as an opportunity to hide in the vents in the airlock chamber. Afterwards, we headed to the critical lab to check on the doctor's condition, just like the culprit directed us. But since that lab used a separate power supply, nothing strange had happened.
His whole "the doctor's in danger" spiel was an act, huh? He made a fool of you, Master! What a dick!
But then, someone attacked the doctor while we were trying to talk with him over the intercom. We had to get into the doctor's lab.
But that time, the old geezer was playing games with us. And he even tried to kill you and the others with a trap! That bastard wanted to use your dead bodies! He really got you there, Master!
I don't see why you're so happy about it. The doctor's sham made the case even more confusing. Even if we tried to get to the doctor, the critical lab was guarded by tight security. The only way through was by using an Amapal. The culprit rode on it by emerging from their hiding place in the airlock vent and jumping onto the robot's head.
All aboard the Amapal Express! First stop, a shower of toxic gas! Humans can't protect themselves against the gas, but since it's not instantly fatal, it wasn't a problem. Next up, the panel chamber and high-voltage shocks! One wrong move, and it was insta-death! But thanks to that sheltered skink, we got all the continues we could want. So, we managed a perfect clear! The critical lab was finally breached!
The culprit had anticipated we would get through this way. They also knew they would die over and over as a result. The camera feed was affected when the culprit jumped on. I should have realized what was happening.
No use crying over spilt blood. On to the next thing! Where were we? Oh yeah! door to the doctor's lab, Amapel had to reach out its arm and hit a switch. And when the door opened wide enough for a person to squeeze through, the killer snuck inside.
Amapel can't follow any new commands while its arm is extended, so the culprit didn't show up on the camera.
Then, the culprit boom killed the old geezer using the same knife as the hitman. Gramps was pretty much deaf, so a backstab was easy peasy.
Then, the murderer tried to leave the room before Amapel entered. But they knocked the robot over on the way out.
They then went back into the airlock chamber vent to wait for you and the others to go by.
We entered the critical lab and found the doctor's body. The culprit used that time to get out of the vent and head for the hallway.
That was when they were found by the hitman. And stabbed.
They'd already been in contact with a toxic gas, so death was inevitable. However, dying by gas would expose them as the doctor's killer. So they hired the hitman to kill them, thereby concealing any involvement.
I guess that means the killer completely trusted in the Master Detective's capabilities. They knew those powers would get them close to the doctor. But why were they willing to die to hide the crime?
I can't say for certain. Was it his pride as a detective? Did he simply not want his friends to know? Whatever it may be, I'm prepared to face the truth. The culprit who murdered Dr. Weska, and even included his own death in the plot.
Jaco Furio! It was you!
I will expose the truth! But why? Chief Jaco, why? Why didn't you ever talk to us about this? Why did it have to end this way? Why didn't you tell us? Is this really what you wanted? Can you even hear me?
It doesn't matter who it is. Exterminating the real culprit's soul and destroying the mystery labyrinth. That's why I'm here. Surging bloodlust. Overflowing despair. The brilliant soul of Shinigami shall expunge this cursed case! Death to all deplorables! Ruin to the vile mystery labyrinth! Glorious darkness, shining rainbow, glorious stellar spiral! The resto grand finale!
Alter Sack. Kill die Frau, die Freundin. Ja, ich nehme an, Die in dem Foto hatte die Frau ja auch so ein Forscher-Kittel-Outfit an. Ich nehme an,
Master's naivete must be rubbing off on me.
weil ja auch gemeint wurde, dass die früheren Forschungen von dem alten Sack gefährlich waren oder so. Dass die hier gearbeitet hat in dem geheimen Forschungslaborzeug und ja. Ja, dass die wahrscheinlich durch irgendwie eine Forschung oder sowas, die der andere gemacht hat, halt wahrscheinlich gestorben ist.
I mean, not even I hated Buzzhead. That's weird. This mystery labyrinth is falling apart slower than usual. I wonder why.
We shouldn't let our guards down yet. Do you really think we're done here?
Huh?
Do you have all of the fragments of truth that you sought? If so, we could just leave, right?
No, we haven't uncovered everything yet.
Mhm.
No, there are still some mysteries remaining.
Huh? What's remaining?
Sachen wie zum Beispiel die Akten-Dinger, die gefehlt haben. Oder Grundriss von dem Labor, der wahrscheinlich in einer von den Akten war und in dem Lagerraum und nur Yomi den Schlüssel hat.
I read the culprit's soul already. I know it's slow, but this place is starting to come down.
Maybe it's not directly related to this case. I don't want to leave any questions unanswered, for Chief Yaku's sake. Please, help me, Shinigami.
Oh, fine. I can't say no to you, Master. You know I can't resist helping you when you rely on me. First, we need to reveal whatever mysteries are left. That should open up a new path. Lay it all out, Master! Let's work together as a team! That's right! Nice! Nice! Great! Go, go, go!
Okay.
Oh, it's a secret dungeon! The labyrinth must be breaking down so slowly because the identity of the culprit isn't the only mystery. But it's still definitely coming down, so you better hurry, Master!
Yeah, got it.
Yuma, I'll follow you to the end until you reach the truth.
Thank you.
Okay. Machen wir. Nächstes Mal. Jo. Immerhin heute rausgefunden, wie der Doktor gestorben ist und wer und so. Ja, mal schauen, was nächstes Mal dann noch ans Licht kommt.